Yeah, Friday edition of Mr. Irrelevant of Alex Strouf with you from the Gruber Law Offices studios at the Avenue downtown Milwaukee. Hunter Vaughn, producer Tiny Hands back at the Everlight Solar Studio downtown Madison. Mr. Irrelevant, of course, brought to you by Door County Distillery, locally produced, handcrafted, and award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. Going to be with you ahead of the weekend. Last day of May, summer is here. I'm very happy about that. Hunter, happy Friday, buddy. How's everything in your world?
It's good. You know, Jesse Nelson taking a Friday off to go golf with his mom, so we're making it through here. It's a lot of Hunter Vaughn on content today between Wildy and Taos.
Is he really golfing with his mom?
Yes, it's for the children's radiothon golf outing up in Beaver Dam. So like it's a good cause.
So at least there's a work tie. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still, this was yesterday asking me if I could do this, and I was like, yeah, sure. So, got a lot going on today.
Didn't get you in show prep today. Didn't get you in show prep today. However, I got to take a nice walk around downtown Milwaukee. I walked to Water Street.
Nice.
Back. It was very nice. It was enjoyable. So, beautiful day today. Looking forward to a great weekend. I got to move tomorrow, so wish me luck on that. That's going to be a lot of fun. But other than that, man, things good. I told you Wednesday after my rant about my cornhole bags league that I would report back Friday with the result. We did much better, Hunter. Much better.
Good.
And by much better, I mean we still lost all 3 games. So that was unfortunate. However, scores 21-14, 21-9, 21-18. Choked in game 3. Had the league the entire game and ended up losing. So, but better. And I'm a little bit nervous, though, that we played the other worst team in the league and we let it slip. So I just think we're going to get dominated because I was watching some of the other teams and they were smoking people. I don't think I got a shot, but it was better this week. So that I'm happy about, that at least it was a little bit better. I still stink, though.
Yeah, but look, this is where right now you're a top 5 pick team. You're looking for that lottery pick, and this is just where you grow. You learn about your team. You learn how the two of you handle adversity together when you're getting smoked.
Yeah.
And this is where you really figure out who's all in, who's not, and this is where you learn the most about your team is this adversity that you're facing in your bags league. This could be great long term. You just got to get through the tough times right now.
So are you implying that one of us is the issue? Like we need to go get a top 5 draft pick and replace one of us on our bags team already in week 2?
Not having seen any film on the team, I can't speak to that. I'm just saying that one of you might be a distraction or maybe a little bit of a locker room cancer, and I would never say that about your lovely lady. So I'm just saying maybe somebody's got to figure some things out.
So you're implying it's my fault. I got it. Okay.
No, I never said those words.
I mean, kind of did. But it's okay. I'll get over it. Anyway, all right, let's move on. I want to start here today, Hunter, because this is something that bothered me last year, and it's something that is bothering me again this year, but 2 times the effect. So the Wisconsin Badgers, it was announced yesterday that they will play for Black Friday against the Minnesota the Minnesota Gophers. I almost said the Vikings. The Minnesota Gophers on Black Friday. And this isn't a night game. This isn't a national stage. This is an 11 a.m. kickoff the day after Thanksgiving, in which, by the way, the Packers play late at Camp Randall Stadium. I hate it. I legitimately hate it. If it was Friday night, I might actually have a different response to this. But it is a Friday morning kickoff on Black Friday, the national shopping holiday, the day after Thanksgiving when look, let's just be honest with one another. It's Wisconsin. People have a few on Thanksgiving. 11 a.m. kickoffs for what is college football's oldest rivalry isn't very sexy. It's not the sexiest of time slots to feature what should be a very interesting game. Last year, there were bowl eligibility implications, which I know 5-6 win teams in the final week of the college football season isn't the most exciting thing you're looking for. But typically, this has been a back-and-forth rivalry the last 5+ years. Typically, this game has produced a pretty darn good product. And yeah, by the way, It is the oldest rivalry in college football. It should be handled with a little bit more care and respect than hey, where can we place a college football game? How about Friday after Thanksgiving at 11 a.m., not, 12 hours after the professional team to the north is playing a game or ending their game on Thanksgiving as the Packers host the Dolphins Thanksgiving night. This shows you what the schedule makers and the national folks value the Wisconsin Badgers football program at right now. And while Luke Fickell is a highly respected hire as the head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers, getting placed in probably your premier game this season at 11 a.m. on the Friday after Thanksgiving shows you America doesn't really care. I know it's a national television game. I understand that. But who's getting that excited about an 11 a.m. start on Black Friday? I hate this, especially, and it makes it double as bad because the Packers play at 7 o'clock the night before, right? Like, I love football. I love the idea of, Saturday to Sunday, Badger Saturday, Packers Sunday, and you have like 24 hours to let it breathe. You've got no availability to breathe here. It's Packers, bedtime, wake up, have a cup of Joe, Badgers, Minnesota in the final week of the regular season, in a season in which it could be bowl implications for the Badgers because it's only year 2 of the Fickell regime. I'm not expecting them to be a 10-win team this year. I'm not expecting them to be competing for the 12-team playoff. But you would think Wisconsin, Minnesota has a little bit more appeal as a Saturday game in the final week of the regular season than a Friday morning kickoff at Camp Randall Stadium, which, by the way, is around a holiday. If you wait until Saturday, you might have some of the college kids coming back. But you think college kids that don't live in the state of Wisconsin are going to leave Thanksgiving night just to get back for Wisconsin, Minnesota at Camp Randall? You're out of your damn mind. I imagine the student section is going to be pathetic this game, but it's not on the students. It's on the schedule makers. I hate this, Hunter. What say you?
I think you're missing the fact that this game is going to be on CBS. So CBS all week is going to be running promos about how they're going to have Cowboys Giants on Thanksgiving Day, and then they're going to follow it up with another rivalry game on that Friday. So for them, I think this was CBS wanted this game of the available games. So this idea that it's like they don't think highly of Wisconsin football, I honestly don't think is true. I think CBS wanted this game to have a rivalry weekend and be able to fill their slate with rivalry games that entire time. That's a positive for them. And also, I think the Badgers are going to surprise people. I think they're going to be a 9-10 win team. So put a little bit more. Yes. I think they're going to surprise Alabama. I think they lose at USC.
Oh, come on, Hunter.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. I think
what about this Badgers team makes you say, hey, this is a team that can beat Alabama, who, by the way, will be competing for a national championship?
It's an Alabama team that's going to have an entirely new coaching staff there. They're going to be figuring things out. It's not going to be the same Alabama that it was when Wisconsin went down to Houston and played them in a neutral site game. It's not going to be the same team. They're still going to be very good. They're going to be a top third of the SEC, but they haven't done a road game to the Big Ten since they went to Penn State in 2011. I'm just saying that if Wisconsin's going to get a big win on the year, that will be the big win that they get.
So, and what time do they have that one kicking off? I know
that's an 11 o'clock
on Fox, right? That's an 11 o'clock
it's
game
the big
as well?
noon. Yep.
I'm okay with that, I guess, in September. But wouldn't you rather that be under the lights?
Yeah, I would rather it's under the lights.
6:30 kickoff?
But this is, again, if Fox got that game, they're going to put it on their premier time slot. And for them, their premier time slot is the big noon kickoff. It's not the Saturday night game the way that ESPN treats it by putting it on ABC. So it's just the way that the network treats that game. CBS is treating their time slots as 2:30 is their premiere. The 11 o'clock is number 2. 7 p.m. they may not do a whole lot because of NBC and ESPN.
I want to go back to the question I asked you before, which is what about this Wisconsin team makes you think they can beat Alabama, who will likely be competing for a national championship? The answer you gave me was all about Alabama. What about Wisconsin makes you think they can beat a team like Alabama?
I think that this defense is going to be much better. Alex Grinch is a terrible head coach. He's a really good assistant coach.
He
is a really, really good assistant
coach. It's just his birthday, Hunter. Show some respect.
I am. I'm telling him he's the best he's one of the best defensive assistant coaches in the country. The dude is really good at that. So I think that this defense is going to take a step forward. I think the offense is going to look a lot more efficient when they don't need to try and feed Braylon Allen the way that they did. I think that Van Dyke is going to be a better pure passer. The reports out of camp have been he has an insane connection with Bryson Green. So now if Green is consistently playing well on the outside and Van Dyke has that guy on the outside, I've got him on the screen and Will Pauling playing the slot, I think this offense is going to be a lot better and a lot closer to what we expected it to be, because it's going to be in what we thought it was last year for this team. I'm not saying that this is a playoff team next year, but I'm saying of the games on their schedule, shocking Alabama, who has a true road game early on in the year, shouldn't be that surprising of a thing, because we see it all the time in college football. College football is weird. Crazy stuff happens when big teams go on the road. So to sit here and act like, oh, it's Alabama, no way Wisconsin can ever win a home game against Alabama, I think is just pathetic that that's what this fan base has come to, that I'm somehow this crazy person for saying that, oh, hey, they can actually do this. Let's actually act like, hey, this is still a good, talented Wisconsin team.
You can't use something I said as an indication of the entire Wisconsin Badgers.
It is, because I've been getting ripped apart for it, because I've said this numerous times, and I get ripped apart for it on TikTok when we were on a TikTok live during the Brewers-Cubs game, and someone asked us about it.
Talking about this game on that.
Yeah, someone in the chat asked about it, so I said it. I answered. I gave the people what they wanted. Okay, I got ripped apart for it when we did a season recap show of ESPN Wisconsin College Game Day, and I'm tired of it. Wisconsin can beat Alabama. The odds are they won't. But to sit here and act like, oh, nope, it's Alabama, it's a loss, they're automatically losing, it's just pathetic, and it's sad for this fan base.
Well, you play the game for a reason. Nothing is an automatic loss, but nothing.
Fan base is treating it like it is.
Well, you said you think they're going to surprise some people. They'll be a 10-win team. And I don't think anything about this schedule screams 10-win team, right? You count Alabama, you get a bye, and then the following week you go to USC. You play Penn State this year. You go to Iowa. You host Oregon this year. Like, those are 5 losable games. This team could very well be 7-5, assuming they win the rest of them. So I struggle with how hard the schedule is, because Oregon, I mean, legitimately, Hunter, you're a college football buff. That's probably one of the best teams, if not the best team in the country as it stands right now.
Oregon will probably be fighting with Ohio State to win the Big Ten. So the way I mean, we'll just go right through. We'll play the schedule game. They're going to beat Western Michigan. They'll beat South Dakota. In my scenario, they're beating Alabama. That puts them at 3. I think they drop that road game against USC. And then they'll beat Purdue.
You probably think that you think they rattle off 3 straight, right? Against Purdue, at Rutgers, at Northwestern. Okay,
yes.
Fair. That's 6 or 5. 6.
They're at 6.
6-1.
Yep. I think they can beat Penn State at home. So that's 7. They win on the road against Iowa. And then I think they can beat Nebraska and Minnesota.
And lose to Oregon.
Yes.
10-2.
Yep. I think 10-2, 9-3 is not that shot. Like, none of that would be other than that Alabama game.
Pick one. 9-3 or 10-2.
I'll go 9-3. But I do think 10-2 is realistic.
I want to know from Potawatomi what the over/under win total is. So I'll try to look that up quick, but I imagine 8.5 is high.
I think they're probably sitting at like 7.5.
And I'd be willing to place a friendly bet with you at some point. We got plenty of offseason left, but to dictate what that bet would look like. But you're more confident than I am. You're more confident than I am. That's for sure.
I'm just a better fan. That's all.
That's all. You're just a better fan. Pop that graphic back up for me, because there's another Friday night game, which I believe is week 2 of the high school football season in Wisconsin. It's their season opener against Western Michigan, which will be played on a Friday night, FS1 at Camp Randall. That's August 30th. And then a couple weeks later, The Packers are playing on a Friday night against the Philadelphia Eagles in Brazil. So high school football is just being tortured by this, which I'm not going to be a hardo. I would prefer probably to watch college or professional football than high school football. But, I feel like you should give those guys their night. And I don't love how we are now impeding on that territory is college football in the NFL as it rolls into Friday nights now, which it is what it is. It allows me to have Saturday free to watch the rest of the college football slate. It allows me to have Sunday free to watch the rest of the NFL slate, which I don't hate that. But it's just a little too much for me. And Badgers playing two of them. They played one last year at Purdue. I think that was week 4 of the college football season, early September. Didn't love that either. So I don't know. I'm a little hesitant on this, but it is what it is. I can't do anything about it.
As someone that works a lot of the Friday nights, I'm just not a big fan of it because it messes with what I'd like to be able to do. A bunch of high school games. I enjoy that. That's something I enjoy, but it's one of those where I get that that's not for everybody. So whatever. It doesn't really matter for me for the regular season. I would just like to be able to do my regular working stuff, but I know no one else cares about that. So now, as I'm saying it, I don't know why I even brought it up, realizing I'm the only person that cares about it. Not a good drop-in by me. I'll admit it.
Bang up job, Hunter. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you. One of my best moments. I know.
I was just gonna
At least I learned from my mistake. It just happened as I was 2/3 of the way through.
A total of 6.5 on the year.
6.5?
Oh,
Man,
that's
Hunter's
easy.
Smacking the over on that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. I don't know about that. All right, let's move on. Wow, what a way to end that part of the show. Good job, Hunter.
Thank you.
Good work by you, pal. Want to talk Chicago Bears as they are officially selected. HBO gets it right for the second year in a row. Chicago Bears will be featured on the preseason edition of Hard Knocks. And look, I mean, if we had to look at, after we finish talking about the Wisconsin Badgers, the football teams that have been most talked about the last couple of months in Wisconsin, it would be 1, the Green Bay Packers, per usual. It would be 2, the Chicago Bears, and 3, the Wisconsin Badgers. And that's not an indication of Bears fans living rent-free or the Caleb Williams living rent-free. It's none of that, right? Caleb Williams is stinking up the joint at OTAs right now. And again, I said this last week. I don't put a ton of stock into that. I don't really care about that. But what I do care about is getting an inside look into an organization that has been hot trash for a decade and a half with a head coach that's on a steaming hot seat with a rookie quarterback that apparently has been stinking it up a little bit. And with an offense that's went all in, right? You add Keenan Allen, you add DeAndre Swift, you add Gerald Everett, you add to the offensive line. Defensively, you were already in good shape. You add some pieces, like a Kevin Byard. I know he's old, but I like him at the safety position, coming from Philadelphia, formerly of Tennessee. Chicago, on paper, and we did the exercise the last couple of shows with the offense and the defense, is a pretty darn good team. They seem like they should be a pretty darn good football team in 2024. But to have the distraction, which is what all the former players have said. Brad Nortman had former teammates that were on Hard Knocks. And distraction is the word that constantly pops up. To put distractions in front of Caleb Williams, who loves the limelight, rightfully so. He's earned the limelight as a former Heisman Trophy winner and now the number 1 overall pick. But this is a team that might already be in at least playoff or figure it out mode. And what I mean by that is if this isn't a playoff team, I think already this year, it might be time to move on from Matt Eberflus and restart the clock at the head coaching position. Because they have done everything from a roster construction standpoint to compete in the NFL. As much as I hate the Bears, I can sit here and objectively say they are probably the team that were the most improved this offseason. With the addition of Caleb Williams, with the addition of Rome Odunze, with the addition of the defensive pieces, with the addition of Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift. This is a team that is putting Caleb Williams in the most ideal position for a number 1 overall pick pretty much of all time. Number 1 overall picks typically go to the worst team in the league. Therefore, not a very good offense in place. The Bears completely owned the Panthers in that DJ Moore trade. giving them the number 1 overall pick a year ago, and in return got Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick this year, as a 7-10 football team a year ago. A team that wasn't that far off from the playoffs last year. So naturally, they improved in the offseason. You should expect improvement. But to add distractions to a rookie quarterback's plate, to add distractions to a coach that's on the hot seat's plate, I love this as a Packers fan. Look, last year I was so sick of Aaron Rodgers, and I didn't really give a damn about the Jets overall. And ultimately, we know how that played out. Aaron Rodgers didn't really play for the Jets last year. It was still kind of fun to get an inside look of what that looked like. But for the Bears, for a team as a Packers fan that I have to see twice a year, that I have to keep an eye on throughout the entirety of the season, I'm going to enjoy this inside look. It's going to make me hate some players more. It's going to make me probably like players I shouldn't want to. And it's going to give you an up-close and personal look on the number 1 overall pick. Not often you have that featured in a weekly documentary series. If I'm a Chicago Bears fan, and the reception seemingly has been very positive, I would hate this. I would hate the distractions, because that's what they are. That's what Hard Knocks is for the team that's being focused on. It's a distraction. Cameras everywhere. I would hate this if I was a Bears fan, but as a Packers fan, I love this, man. Show me all the struggles. Show me all the hardships. Show me all the issues that's going on in Chicago. Give me an up-close look on that. That is appealing television. And I love crappy TV, man. Like, I watched The Circle. I watched Love is Blind. I watched The Bachelor. Give me Caleb Williams,
You watch wrestling.
Matt Eberflus, and the goofy Chicago Bears on HBO's Hard Knocks. Give me the crappy reality television that is Hard Knocks and the Chicago Bears. I love this year. I love it. I love it. All right, let's do this. Let me tell you about Door County Distillery. Locally produced, handcrafted, award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. Weather's getting great. I know you're heading up to Door County. Go pop in. Tell them I sent you. Take the tour. Do the tastings. Check out the exclusive bottles they have only at the location in Carlsville in southern Door County. And you can also check them out online and buy a bunch of the stuff. Cherry vodka, cherry brandy, apple brandy, the award-winning single malt whiskey, the bourbon, the rye whiskey, all the in-betweens available at your local retailer. Scan the QR code. Check out their website, DoorCountyDistillery.com. Find the retailer nearest you and mix up some fun cocktails this weekend. It's going to be beautiful out. They've got a huge list, like a ginormous list of cocktail recipes, and you can filter it too. Like, you can say, I have this, and it'll show you what recipes to make with it. Some summer, some wintry. You got the apple brandy. Sometimes that's good. If a little warm drink, you can do like a little cider with that in the winter. In the summer, you can do a little spritz action. Check out their website, man. You're missing out. Door County Distillery, award-winning, does it better than everybody else, and they're local. Who doesn't love local? A bunch of local collaborations, whether it's their coffee liqueur, within the cherry vodka and the cherry brandy, with locally produced Door County cherries. Place rocks, man. Let's learn more about them right now. We'll be back in 60. It's Mr. Relevant. I'm Alex Strouf. I'm back at the legendary Door County Distillery with the legendary Beth.
Hi.
Nothing bigger right now than espresso martinis and confession. I've never had one, Beth, so I think I need you to teach me how to make one.
It's real simple. With ours, we do our Java infusion, which is our coffee-infused spirit, our vodka, some chocolate sauce, and some coconut cream, so it's dairy-free for those who can't have lactose. We're gonna start with 2.5 ounces of our Java, because this is a martini, so lots of booze.
Yes.
1.5 of our vodka, about 1/2 ounce of your chocolate syrup and your coconut cream, or cream if you prefer. Shake this for about 15 seconds.
She's a pro. I'd spill everywhere.
Strain that into our martini glass. There we go. Quick and easy espresso martini.
Time to try it. First ever espresso martinis. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that's delicious. That's really good. I'm an espresso martini girly now. Yeah, no doubt.
Who isn't?
Check out their website with a huge list of unique cocktail recipes at DoorCountyDistillery.com. That's DoorCountyDistillery.com. David on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube chat says, Bears on HBO Hard Knocks really should air on Comedy Central. I agree with that. In the break, Joshy DiMaggio, here at the Gruber Law Offices, one call That's All Studios at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee, called me a Bears fan because I've talked about the Bears so much. Joshy, I'm not a Bears fan, and you know that.
You are, as I said on the schedule release show, the very first Packers-Bears fan. You love the Packers, but you are so excited to watch the Bears play. You think this is potential playoff team. You're so excited about the Bears.
Excited is not the right word.
At every opportunity you get, I've heard Roma Dunze on this more than I've heard you say Dontavian Wicks name.
Oh, that's not true. That's not true. I'm actually about to talk about Dontavian Wicks. It's funny you say that. But no, that's not accurate. I'm excited about the NFC North.
Yeah.
I'm excited for what will be the most competitive division in the National Football League. Why wouldn't you be? Who doesn't like competition? For the last, 15 years, Joshy, we've watched the Green Bay Packers stroll through the NFC North like it's the local shopping mall. Nobody's there.
Yeah, I like winning. Ever heard of it?
Yeah, I'm very familiar. I'm very familiar. And you know what the Packers are going to do a lot of this year, Joshy? Winning.
Wow. See, now that's what I like to hear. Positivity.
You're a dork. Amazing. David suggests you're doing reverse psychology on me. You're actually the Bears fan. I like that take from David.
Shut up, David.
All right, I want to do this. Lot of question marks as OTAs continue up in Green Bay, but really paying attention to training camp, because I think that's when you really start getting the answers to some of these questions that I'm going to pose. I think a lot of the minutia that comes with the offseason of a playoff team is pretty minor in comparison to a team like the Bears, to use them again, right? Like, they have a lot more question marks than the Green Bay Packers do, coming off a 9-win season, which included a playoff win on the road at the Dallas Cowboys and a divisional appearance against the 49ers, in which Packers probably should have won that game. So, Hunter, I screwed up.
Oh,
I actually wrote 6 storylines.
You gotta be
You can
kidding
keep the
me.
title of the podcast and the YouTube and the lower third top 5, because I'm not going to spend a ton of time on number 6. But I did write 6, and I felt compelled to talk about it briefly. So here are your top 5, but really 6 storylines for the Green Bay Packers offseason from 6 to 1. We start with number 6. And look, I know it sounds goofy and stupid, but maybe it doesn't, because it was a real issue last year. And that would be the kicker battle, or lack thereof. Durs, what I call him. Anders Carlson, the rookie kicker a year ago, who really had a brutal year. I mean, he missed kicks in, I think it was 6 of the last 8 games, including that playoff game against San Francisco. They bring in some competition for him, but I don't feel like they have a real answer here. It feels like years and years ago when Mason Crosby was kicking against a guy by the name of Giorgio Tavecchio. And it was like, yeah, they brought in some competition, but is this really a competition? I think this is Anders Carlson's job, unless things go totally sideways in the offseason. But I don't feel very confident in Anders Carlson being a different kicker than he was a year ago for the Green Bay Packers. Greg Joseph, Jack Podlesny are the other 2 options. Greg Joseph at least has been in the league. I don't know. That's just something I've got an eye on. And it's one of those training camp things where it will be tracked every day on Twitter and you can keep a close eye on it. But it's something that's interesting and it's real, because what's the margin of error in the NFL? It's not a lot of points. And if you have a kicker that's missing as much as Anders Carlson did a year ago, this could turn an 11 or 12-win team into a 9-win team again. Something to keep an eye on. All right, let's get to the real top 5 now. Number 5, Eric Stokes, Christian Watson, Zach Tom, and overall health. This is something that obviously matters a lot more in the regular season and into the postseason, of long-term health and who's going to be on the field and who's available as an option. But a lot of talk this offseason around Eric Stokes and Christian Watson and the asymmetry between his hamstrings, and now Zach Tom dealing with an injury, a bicep injury that has him out of OTAs. I'm nervous about it. I mean, you're always nervous about health, right? Like, sports come down to 3 simple things. You got to be good, you got to be lucky, you got to be healthy. Ultimately, that can lead to a championship recipe. Good, lucky, healthy. The Packers were pretty darn good at the end of last season. They were pretty darn lucky in terms of the way their schedule broke. Seeing Dallas in the wild card round was an ideal situation. Sorry, Hunter. Healthy has been an iffy one. You didn't have a full array of good health last year. Jair Alexander missed a lot of time. You had Christian Watson missing a ton of time. Aaron Jones missed several games. Luke Musgrave missed a couple games. Obviously, David Bakhtiari, who's no longer on the team, missed pretty much the entire season outside of the first game. You worry about the health, especially when things are popping up now, Zach Tom being the main one. So health and hoping they can just get out of the preseason healthy is storyline number 5. Storyline number 4 is mostly based off the first-round draft pick of Jordan Morgan. What will the offensive line be? We said it before, and we said it after the drafting of Jordan Morgan. The Green Bay Packers would be comfortable with the 5 starting linemen they had a year ago, starting week 1 this year. But when you add in a 6'8" left tackle in the first round of the NFL draft, when there were very good offensive linemen available, and other positions, defensive backs as well, you kind of hope he cracks the starting lineup. I don't know if it's a bad thing if he doesn't, but you hope he does in Jordan Morgan. What happens to Rasheed Walker? What happens to Zach Tom? Are you sold on Josh Myers? Is Sean Ryan for sure the answer at right guard? Those are some of the things I'm looking at on the offensive line side of things. I think that's a big storyline because guess what? The number 1 storyline, spoiler alert, which we'll get to in a minute, revolves around the quarterback. And who keeps the quarterback off his rear? That would be the offensive line. Storyline 3, who emerges in the wide receiver group? You're very, very comfortable with the amount of receivers that the Packers have right now and what they did in a very questionable year last year. Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks. Joshy, Dontavian Wicks look like superstars in the making. Christian Watson, if he's healthy, takes the top off of defense like nobody else in this roster. Romeo Doubs viewed as Jordan Love's security blanket in year 1 as a starter. And then you've got guys like Bo Melton and Malik Heath, who made some plays last year. But who will really emerge as that top guy? I think all of them have the ability to, especially those first 4. But I think training camp, the preseason, and into the early few weeks of the regular season will show you who took that next step. Because you hope Jaden Reed can do it. You hope Dontavian Wicks can do it. And you love that they're pairing up at a VRBO in Florida in the offseason to get some extra training in. But who will emerge as that top receiver? Hunter, go ahead.
Why do they need a top receiver, though? Because I know, like, I've brought this up before, but why can't it just be a receiver room where you don't know who's going to be the guy 1 week to the next, and you end up with 4 guys that are 700-yard receivers, and you're just as productive as a team that has a 1,200-yard true number one guy?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair question, and obviously it worked out all right last year for them. But I truly believe you need somebody to emerge as at least a playmaker, right? Because I don't know that Jaden Reed will ever be viewed as the best receiver in the league, right? I don't know that Deebo Samuel's ever been viewed as the best receiver in the league. But what does Deebo Samuel provide to an offense? What can Jaden Reed evolve into and provide for an offense? Dontavian Wicks, can he be the Devontae Adams-esque? Can he make that jump in year 2? As the best probably natural route runner on this team. Why is it important? I think when you look at Super Bowl champions, and I've made this case before, there's usually a number 1 true receiver. And a lot of the times recently it's been a tight end in Travis Kelce and Rob Gronkowski. But look at the Rams. They had, of course, Cooper Kupp, who was an MVP finalist. In the one off year that the Patriots, Buccaneers, or Chiefs did not win the Super Bowl in the last decade. That's who emerged. I don't know if it's a necessary thing, but I feel like in today's day and age of the NFL, you need a very comfortable number 1 option that Jordan Love can look to and throw the ball to. But maybe you're right. Maybe they can do it without that. But I'm not even saying emerges as a true number 1 in training camp. I think just like, okay, who are your 2 guys or 3 guys that will be on the field every play? Because you could jot out different sets, right? I'm sure Bo Melton will get some reps, and there will be some things designed for him. But is it Watson, Reed, Wicks? Is it Watson, Dobbs, Wicks? Is it Watson, Dobbs, Reed? Is it Dobbs, Reed, and Wicks and when Watson's healthy, hopefully he is all season. I don't know. It's just a room that still intrigues me because you saw so much success in year one, specifically for Reed and Wicks, and year two for Dobbs. And obviously, rookie year for Watson was terrific. He went on that unbelievable 6-game tear. I just want consistency and know what to expect. But maybe you're right, Hunter. Maybe the group effort works. The top two storylines, I think, are inevitable and obvious. So we'll rapid fire through them. Number 2 is Hafley's defense. That's all I wrote. Hafley's defense. I'm so intrigued by the praise that Hafley continues to get, whether it be from the coaching staff or the players on the defensive side of the football. There are a ton of really, really, really good things being said about Jeff Hafley. And the question was asked yesterday, a very good one, on Kyle Brust and Nortman weekdays 2 to 5 on ESPN Wisconsin. Is this more an indication of happiness and clarity that Joe Barry is gone, or success and confidence in Jeff Hafley's new scheme for the Packers defense? While two things can be true, I currently lean towards the former. I think this is more of an indication of, hey, Joe Barry was a great guy. But as a defensive coordinator, his time had come. And we really needed some fresh ideas. Because you're not getting true 11-on-11s yet. You're not getting true game action yet. You don't really exactly know what this Hafley defense looks like in action yet. But fresh ideas are a good thing. A lot of experience at the collegiate level and in the NFL for Jeff Hafley. That's a good thing. But does it actually come together? Might I add, the investment on the defensive side of the football throughout the draft and some of the contracts they're paying now to Jair Alexander, Rashawn Gary, and eventually Kenny Clark, we assume, another one. There's a lot of investment back there. You got to be able to produce because you've got some primetime players, some of the best in the division, some of the best in the NFC, some of the best in the NFL shoot in Jair Alexander. What can Rashawn Gary evolve into? You need a double-digit sack season out of him coming off the edge. So Jeff Hafley's defense is a big storyline that we just won't have answers to. And it might not be until a quarter of the way through the NFL season. But that is number 2 on the list, and number 1 is the obvious. It's Jordan Love's contract extension. When does it come? What does it look like? We make the assumption that it will be in the Jared Goff camp of $53 million a year, and probably long-term like that too, 4-5 years. But if you're the Packers, are you ready to open up the pocketbook to that degree? I don't know that they are. Jordan Love's camp has every argument in the world to make for, hey, we deserve this money. But will they get that money? I don't know. I don't know what would be offered to them. I would assume, though, Jordan Love is locked up by week 1 in Brazil, if not sooner. I would be shocked if he's still not under contract long-term by first week of August. I would say that's when we get into weird territory of, okay, when is this finally going to happen? I would guess around training camp toward the end of July, though. So just to recap, my top 5 with an honorable mention 6th. Kicker battle. Number 5, Stokes, Watson, Zach Tom, and health. Number 4, the offensive line. Who starts? Who's the top 5? Number 3, who emerges at the wide receiver position? Number 2, Hafley's defense. And number 1, Jordan Love's contract extension. The top 5-ish storylines of the Packers offseason. Hunter, did I miss anything that came to your head?
No. I would, all of that's exactly where I would kind of expect everything to be. Something that Wilde and Tausch talked about, they did their Take It to the Bank segment, and they talked about the addition of Xavier McKinney and how would he be the top addition to this team. And Tausch right away was like, no, it's Jeff Hafley. He'll be at the end of the year the number 1 addition, even ahead of Josh Jacobs, which I didn't even think about him in that way. But this defense...
To be real honest with you, I agree, but I would actually put McKinney ahead of Jacobs. I think you've seen such bad safety play for so many years in Green Bay, right? Like, who was the last true, really good safety for the Packers? Nick Collins?
Yeah.
Clinton Dix wasn't that good.
He had flashes.
Donald Savage was never that good.
No. It was Nick Collins. I mean my only thing with the Josh Jacobs or Xavier McKinney, who will be more important kind of discussion, is the fact that I think fans will remember Josh Jacobs more if he's productive and scoring touchdowns, unless Xavier McKinney has like a playoff clinching interception late kind of a thing, because ideally he doesn't make a lot of insane, like it'd be great if he makes insane plays and is like a huge impact every single game, but most safeties aren't. So as long as he's not getting burned deep and giving up a bunch of touchdowns and you're like, where the heck is he playing and what is he doing, then he's doing his job well. Or Josh Jacobs is going to be getting touchdowns. He's going to be out there. He's going to have big highlights. So we may remember Josh Jacobs as being the bigger addition. And I think
that's fair.
We might just end up talking about him more. But yeah, Jeff Hafley coming to this team is, gosh, if this defense figures it out for Green Bay, like they're going to be able to compete against San Francisco. It's going to be a 2-horse race with Green Bay and Detroit all season long.
Yeah, totally. I'm with you right there. I mean, I think those are the 3 best teams in the NFC as it stands right now. You could probably make a case for Philly. You could probably still make a case for Dallas.
No, I wouldn't for Dallas.
Does anybody in the South intrigue you to that level? Like, I like the Bucks. I like what the Falcons are doing, but I don't have them in NFC contender status.
No,
I think it's in this order. I think in this order, it's Niners, Lions, toss-up between Eagles and Packers, top 4?
Yeah, I would say so. Anybody from the NFC South, like this is going to be another year where the winner of that division maybe has 9 wins. Like they could have a sub 500 winner, and it's not because it's a terrible division. It's just they're all kind of right in the same area of like, oh, well, we kind of suck, but at the same time we can still like beat a team, and maybe we somehow squeak out just above 500.
You're spot on with that. You are indeed. All right, let's move on. UW Hall of Fame. University of Wisconsin earlier this week announcing the 2024 inductees into their athletic Hall of Fame. And a guy I have worked a lot with, a guy I've worked very closely with over the years. Tarek Saleh, the UW's all-time leader in sacks, finally gets his name in the UW Hall of Fame. Amazing news for him, who has a ton of school records. It's long overdue, and it is just really, 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 a great moment for Tarek Saleh, who's been on the airwaves on ESPN Madison for, well, probably over 2 decades at this point. Saleh, just to run down his resume, if you're not familiar, he played at Wisconsin from 1993 to 1996. He's the school's all-time leader in sacks. He is also the school's all-time leader in tackles for loss yardage, and quarterback sacks yardage. He also ranks in the single-season top 10 in all of those categories I just named. He was the defensive MVP of the 1996 Copper Bowl. He played in the 1994 Rose Bowl. He played in the NFL for 2 different teams, the Carolina Panthers and then the Cleveland Browns, where he was later converted to a fullback for the Cleveland Browns. This guy's a linebacker that got converted to a fullback in Cleveland to prolong his NFL career. He was a first-team All-American in 96, second-team All-American in 1995, and a first-team All-Big Ten selection in both 95 and 96. The resume's stacked, and his media career pretty darn wild as well. He is one of the biggest nutcases I've ever worked with and met, and he is just one of the all-time good guys. So super happy for Tarek Saleh, headed to the UW Hall of Fame. Let's wrap up the week, as we always do, with what Strouf learned. You learn something new every day. I learned something new while we've been sitting here that I'm actually really fired up about. The Buffalo Bills are having an offseason, man. The drafting of maybe the best quote, the best soundbite of a rookie in Keon Coleman. If you have not listened to him do an interview, look it up. He is hilarious. Josh Allen looking to get back. They trade Stephon Diggs. They plug in a bunch of different receivers in Buffalo, looking to just make something work. And now, in the last hour, they have signed Olympic gold medalist wrestler and NCAA national champion Gable Steveson to be a defensive lineman. He has never played football before. The first time he put on cleats was earlier this week when he worked out for the Bills. And Gable Steveson was, by the way, signed to WWE. He was going to pursue professional wrestling, but instead, he's coming to the NFL, just like DJ Burns should from NC State, the big MFer. I love this. I love non-traditional signings in the NFL, man. I really hope this works out. as he's dominant, man. He's physical as hell. He won a gold medal in wrestling. He won multiple national championships at the University of Minnesota, one of the most dominant college wrestlers of all time. NFL worthy. I love untraditional signings. It's awesome. Back with him Monday, beginning at 12:30 on the ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison YouTube channels, and available wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand. Just search Mr. Relevant will be your first result. If you're watching on the YouTube stream, give us a thumbs up, click subscribe, turn on the notification bell just so you get a little notification every time we go live, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, beginning at 12:30 right here on the ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison YouTube pages. We'll talk to you on Monday. Make it a great weekend. Enjoy the beginning of summer, the official kickoff this weekend. We will talk to you on Monday. It's Mr. Relevant. I'm Alex Strouf. Peace.